What did I do?
Okay, because the one thing I do want to bring up that I don't know if Wes and I were just the ones going back, but Wes, I think we do need to have an intervention with you. I think that I don't know, you're lacking joy in your life, because I believe that you've become such a skeptic in your advanced age now that you just don't have it in you to truly enjoy some of the things that Alan and I enjoy: the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, ghosts, the perpetual afterlife, the universe, space in general. I feel like I know the root of all your problems, and I think we should really intervene, Alan, and get to the bottom of it for him.
Intervention. Yeah.
Intervention.
Yeah. Okay.
So what do you think? What's your theory?
My theory is, Wes. No, okay. Look, see, you even give me the jerk off sign. Okay, look. Bottom line, Wes. I think what's happened is that you have been debunking douchebag skeptics, or not. I'm sorry, douchebag conspiracy theorists for so long that you no longer have it in you to have this joyous curiosity about things that can't be explained. And so you are so ready to put a bullseye in the middle of conspiracy targets that you don't let your mind wander into the things that could be, because you have gotten so good at destroying people who think that they are.
Oh, you mean I grew up? Okay, yeah, fair enough.
This guy, that's rude.
Wow.
Rude.
It's just like, how is lack of belief of something like the Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot not enjoying things?
Well, I think it comes down to like allowing your mind to explore how these things could possibly exist, and not just automatically shooting them out of the sky because it sounds nonsensical that they could exist. And so you've gotten so good at just skeet shooting idiots that you don't allow yourself to be an idiot just for a minute yourself, just for funsies, just to kind of explore the possibility of what is. I mean, if you really wanted to get me into like some sort of alien conspiracy, I've got all sorts of wild, hokey dokey kind of ways of thinking about things. But you don't allow yourself to believe that way because you're so used to killing people philosophically on nonsense that you won't allow yourself to believe nonsense anymore.
Yeah. Like, what if we harnessed all that like rage towards conspiracy theorists and you just shot it the other way and we're like, maybe this is real? Like, imagine what you might accomplish. You might find Bigfoot, motherfucker. I don't know. You don't know.
Well, I'd like to refer back to Murr's last sentence where he said, "You won't allow yourself to believe nonsense." I mean, there's a flaw in your theory, in your logic there, but hey, to each his own, or their own.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. You're proving my own point for me. You're looking for flaws. You're looking for nuances in sentence structure to take me down, to knock my point down a peg, rather than just jumping on the roller coaster and throw your hands in the air and saying, "Wee, motherfucker, here we go, off the Zuzu land, libbity-doo. Let's join the spaceship and ride it out to Zanzibar. Come on, why not?"
All right. I mean, okay, let's give it a shot. What do you got for me?
Give it a shot.
Well, okay, here you go. Okay, Alan, what's one of your favorite, mental exercises to think about when it comes to conspiracy theory stuff? I mean, whether it's aliens, JFK, whatever.
I mean, JFK is super awesome. We have not talked about that. But, I mean, I guess we've talked about it before. I love me some Bigfoot stuff. I love me some hominids around the world, because not just like, I'm not talking just a regular old, North American on Animal Planet Bigfoot. I'm talking like, Southeast Asia Bigfoots, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's kind of like cryptozoology. How about that? I guess it would also encompass like the Loch Ness Monster and shit like that. I think that is kind of my conspiracy theory, like, bang.
Cryptozoology? Is that the...
Yeah, that's actually a term.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's the real term. That's like El Chupacabra, all the things that he's talked about right there.
Yep.
Right in our backyard, Chessie, which is apparently by some sort of giant marine thing that floats around the Chesapeake Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Yeah, buddy.
Wow.
So imagine if we harnessed our energy and we went and Chessie chased.
You picked the wrong topic, Alan, because I know he's looking at this and he's like, I cannot fucking get into this. I cannot. He cannot sit here and say large land and water mammals existing for thousands of years, unseen by the human eye. I can see the fucking wheels in his head turning. He's not going to allow himself to enjoy that one.
See, it's not like that's untrue. Like, we only found like giant squid like 50 years ago, bro.
Well, aren't they super deep? Don't they live and roam?
I mean, why are
Pacamata?
you taking the constraints of the giant squid off of Chessie? Is all I'm saying. Like, obviously they're in open ocean, maybe a little bit deeper, but why is it so unfathomable that a sea creature that Chessie is would not have surfaced very often? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I mean the Chesapeake Bay is only so deep, and I guess you're using Chessie as an example.
Yeah,
but
yes.
I certainly think that there's a lot of marine life that's way down in the abyss that you could consider a creature, but something relatively prehistoric that managed to make it. You know, the lone thing that managed to make it out and floats around Loch Ness Lake in London.
But see, you say lone thing. And I mean, fucking crocodiles are goddamn dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I mean, they're not the only this hypothetical thing, or this thing we have not proven, is not the only thing from that era that has made it. And we're not saying that it is. We're saying that it could possibly still exist. And you're just like, poo-poo that. Get that out of here. With your nose turned up.
I'm sorry. I don't draw conclusions on could have and possibly. I know you guys enjoy that, and that's fine. Hey, man, it helps you sleep at night.
I just know that all the years I've seen you just obliterate 9/11 conspiracy theorists, and I think that's where it all started with you. It's because how old were you 9/11? 18?
I was about a week and a half from being 19, so I was 18. Yeah.
Okay, so you're 18 years old.
You saw what I... Okay, yeah.
You saw what I saw. You know what I know. I grew up. I remember my dad worked for the government, and we watched the Iran-Contra fucking trial on TV. Like, that was like daily viewing for us. So I realized at a young age that governments are complex, geopolitical chessboards are set up very complexly, and chess pieces move from fucking the middle of the Americas to the middle of the East, with people doing this, running guns to cartels and that and this, and that the world's a very fucked up, crazy place. And yes, it's possible for terrorists to get on planes and fly them into buildings. End of story. And you know that as well as I do. And then you started dealing with assholes. No, man, George W. Bush was involved with Lockheed Martin, who had Halliburton contracts with Dick Cheney from when, and you have to deal with these people. And I think you got so staunch in your arguments that it won't allow you to let your mind free to deal with some psychotic bullshit like we do. Like aliens. I love aliens.
And hey, look, we're on the heels of that. We're cracking the code. The Pentagon is releasing information daily. We're putting rovers on Mars.
Yeah, buddy.
Fuck you.
I think it's like
my analysis.
Is your? I would say no, babe. It really spawns from back when I started reading about and learning about James Randi. Because that's when I stopped believing in ghosts. Like probably 15, 16. And he kind of fascinated me in that realm about show me facts, show me proof, show me evidence. Now I know that doesn't, hold true in your in Andrew Mercourt, but I don't know. I like to live by that rule. Not could haves and
look, I feel you. I would like to consider myself a man of science, so I get it. But it's not unscientific to believe in something without evidence. Like, I don't necessarily need to write it off. Mm-hmm. Like I understand where you're coming from. You're like, science and logic makes sense. Show me something, and I'll be like, okay, cool.
Right.
But science, by its nature, is okay. Well, I mean, just because I haven't seen it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Like,
okay,
you get what I'm saying? So, I get where you're coming from, but you can work at both angles, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. Because, like I said, I'm the same kind of way. I want to see stuff. I want to see proof. That's why I'm like, if you ask me if I believe in Bigfoot, I'm like, I'm like, I mean, yeah, kind of. I think something's out there, but obviously nothing has presented itself. So what am I supposed to tell you? I think biologically something could be out there, but I haven't seen it yet.
Giant, hairy Shaquille O'Neals are just fucking roaming.
Just like a couple of them, though.
Roaming all over. Maybe even bigger.
Well, and by the way, and just to come at you with your own logic, though, like nobody's ever seen gravity. Like, I mean, we've seen it, quote unquote, at play, but you can't see the thing. Newton, Einstein, we didn't. They theorized all of these things, and then we proved what they theorized later, only because they theorized it. And see, I think as time has gone by, we've decided some things are hooey and nonsense, and they're not worth going after. Like, okay, ghosts, for example. Sadly, just like the Bigfoot phenomenon, you've got Jeter and Skeeter out in the woods with a fucking camcorder and a voice recorder like, okay, we're going to slow this down, reverse it, and we're going to bring up the aural spectral of the audio wave file. And you'll notice right here, there's a blip, blip, blip. And it's like, you hear that? It's calling out, Donna. It's Donna. It's slowed down at 35,000 frames per second, and you can hear it clearly say, Donna. And those are the people that are studying that science. We don't have real scientists on the gig, and no real scientist is willing to go after it. So it's still unknown.
I think I have seen a few. I'm not sure what channel it's on, but it's come up late as of the last couple of years, like Ghost Hunters or something, and they have these contraptions that are like Ghostbuster-esque. You know, these things that have the two antennas that go from straight up to to like perpendicular of each other, and they light up from top to bottom. This is a rayon spectrum, and it captures all life forms, living and dead. Rats to your dead uncle and aunt.
Yes, they are what you just called them. They are gadgets made by morons in a garage that have no degree in any kind of scientific field at all whatsoever. And then we're basing all of our lack of knowledge based on their gathering of knowledge.
Well, of course,
and it makes it sound stupid.
Give them a TV show and a budget and some other things.
Yeah, because we we also did that for Jackass. We watched Johnny Knoxville blast himself off a fucking rocket in the middle of the lake because it's entertaining to watch idiots do dumb things.
Man, they did some stupid shit.
Wow, yeah.
That was good stuff.
I was actually, I got drunk the other night. I was watching the bull seesaw, you know, the matted, like, so they had two guys and they let a full-blown fucking, you know, really agitated and irritated bull go after him, and oh man, I don't know, you best pay me lots.
I think they all made decent amount of money. Some of them just snorted it away.
Yeah, and it's bizarre with the Jackass crew because it seems Johnny Knoxville's had a pretty even run of like sanity, at least. I mean, for somebody doing insane things, he's been pretty even keeled. But then you had Steve-O, the one that you thought was definitely going to die first, has now turned his life around to be one of the more responsible human beings of that series, to now Bam Margera, who seemed like the one who had it all together. This guy had like a fucking, like 2 Lamborghinis when he was 19 years old because he started his own business videotaping himself skateboarding and then turning it into the whole Jackass enterprise. So it went from Bam, oh man, this guy's a young success story, to probably going to be dead next year, from Steve-O, who should be dead in 20 minutes, who's probably going to outlive all of them now because he's fucking seasoned his body to survive anything.
Yeah, did you see the photo of Bam, the recent one?
Yeah.
You haven't seen him, Alan?
Is it bad?
It is. It's very Artie Lang-esque. You ought to bring it up. See if you can find it. I mean,
it's like
he's like
Artie Lang.
I think he's between he's a year younger than you, Mur.
Yeah, I think he's 1 year younger than me, and it's like if Artie Lang had sex with his dad Phil, that's what Bam looks like now.
And maybe his who was the Uncle Rico or Uncle not Uncle Rico, sorry, Uncle
Vito.
Vito, maybe Vito was videotaping in the corner, pulling his pud. Yeah, that guy's in jail too.
He's dead.
Dead in jail.
I mean, he definitely like there. I haven't seen any good pictures, but he definitely looks like he's not healthy.
Ugh. It's just bad. It's just bad. I mean, that's what happens when you live a fast lifestyle. You don't take care of yourself.
Yeah, that's very true.
they kicked him off of Jackass 4. Like, he was going to be in it. They made some rules for him. He had to stay clean. Apparently, he started doing drugs, and they were like, "All right, you're gone. Sorry, we tried, but that's it."
Wow.
So they literally pulled an intervention on him, and they've pulled the plug on Bam's comeback story.
See, they couldn't break through Bam for millions of dollars. Here we are, friends, talking amongst one another. You guys had a breakthrough with me. I said, let's do it. Let's hop on the happy train. Bigfoot, here we go. I want to get one of the fucking bullhorns and go out to the backyard.
Yeah, why'd you pick Bigfoot, Alan? I mean, you could have picked fucking
It's my thing.
else.
I told you. I just said you asked me, and I said it's my thing.
I know. I was hoping you'd go aliens. I was kind of giving you the wink. Let's go aliens. Because Wes, I got a whole theory about human civilization is just the rebirth of a former human civilization that destroyed itself, and we're on the cusp of building ourselves back up to repeat the cycle yet again. And that's all we're seeing from the aliens is them coming back to visit and see if we've figured it all out yet. And we're still not there. Maybe we're close. Maybe that's why they're visiting again.
Maybe they're getting maybe they built social media. Maybe they dropped the seed in Zuckerberg and actually, who was the guy who did MySpace? Gary? Tom? Yeah. Tom. God, there's a blast from the past. That guy made, I think, like $15 or $20 million off of that. He sold it. I think
Justin Timberlake.
Yeah, sold it to Timberlake?
Yeah.
Why did Timberlake buy it?
He thought he was going to turn it into like some sort of like social media music streaming service.
Oh. Huh.
And then Facebook happened.
Is that
And then he got zucked.
He got zucked. Timberlake got zucked.
So hard.
That could be a good t-shirt.
What, got zucked?
Timberlake got zucked.
Timberlake got zucked. Oh, Timberlake.
Oh, you weren't going to pull up the picture of Bam?
Oh, well, I didn't really find any good ones, but I'll show you the one that I did find.
Yeah, hold on.
It's kind of like a side shot of him, but he looks like hate. So,
Well, he doesn't do a lot of like professional photos.
yeah, well, yeah.
He kind of does.
Some paparazzo got him, you know.
He kind of does. Please don't call the police. I shouldn't be at this bar. Photos now.
Yeah,
Are you sharing it?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's it right there. That's the latest. That's him looking actually.
Right there, yeah.
This one
Good.
all beat it up. He
Right here, the Jackass 4 one.
Yeah, this right here. I mean, that's pretty funky. Pretty funky Cole Medina. That's a shame. Well,
It's rough.
you know what else is a shame? Not necessarily a shame, but I'll tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we haven't had it in a while, and I think it's time for a reading from our favorite Colonel Sanders.
Now, back in 1973, the manager in charge of franchise sales came to me saying, "Harlan, there's far too many herbs and spices in your delicious original recipe chicken. I can't sell no restaurants." After a long, measured breath and a brief conversation between his left temple and my right pinky ring, we came to an understanding. He sold 14 franchises that year. Sometimes it takes the proper motivation.
There you go. Yep. Sometimes it takes the proper motivation. Thank you, Murr. Takes me an intervention to motivate me. Takes Harlan motivation to sell franchises.
Got to be motivated.
He was complicated, man. And by the way, there's a brand new season of The Foods That Build America, and I'm totally on board again. I ate 2 packs of Reese's Cups because of that fucking show. I think it's just there to sell more foods. I think that's what they're doing. I think I ate a whole Domino's pizza because of that show already, and I ate Reese's Peanut Butter Cups.
Wait, what's it called again?
All because it's The Foods That Built America.
And I'm assuming it just goes over all the big major franchises from that span history, the good ones.
Yeah, like the guys that made pizza. People don't realize that pizza wasn't even in America. It was here, like in the the upper, the like New York, New Jersey, and all that. But these guys are like from Kansas, and they're like, "Hey, I heard about this pizza shit. We should try making some." And they didn't know how to make the dough, so they just took French bread and they fucking made it, put it on, put cheese and sauce and shit on it. They're like, "Yeah, it's pizza. Fuck it. Nobody knows what pizza tastes like." And then they built Pizza Hut, and then they franchised it. And then bada boom, bada bing. Here we go. Pizza's all over America. So like 1958, that's when pizza started in America.
In Kansas
It's
City?
just stuff like, It started out like in the Midwest in Kansas, and it just spread across because they started franchising the shit out of it, and they were undercutting McDonald's. They were selling their franchises at half the price that McDonald's was selling theirs. So like all these like young entrepreneurs like in the 1950s, like, oh shit, why am I going to pay $10,000 for McDonald's when I can pay $5,000 for this pizza shit? And that's what they did.
So you mean
pizzas cost nothing, by the way,
to make?
Yeah. I worked at Domino's, delivered pizzas, and they cost like, I don't know. Somebody told me, I think my manager was like, yeah, this, pie with like pepperoni on it costs like, I don't know, $1.75.
Yeah.
Well, $17 out the door.
But you got to, someone, you got to pay the person who's making it.
Well, yeah, I understand that. Like, I understand how business works, but fucking, I was like, damn, that's very cheap.
Okay. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, the pizza shop where I worked, he said the same thing. He's like, cheese pizza cost me about $1. Supreme cost me about $1.75 to make. But yeah, and it's an easy way to get started, but then you still have to to get the building. You got to pay the morons. The guy I worked for he paid Hispanic gentlemen that spoke no English and probably didn't have any paperwork. Pennies on the dollar to work 18 hours a day. So yeah, he kept his overhead down pretty well. And it's easy to start spreading yourself all over the Mid-Atlantic when you do that kind of thing. But yeah, Domino's, just some guys right out of college, just like they just started a shop, and then their building was just too small. So he was just like, shit, man, we can't sell enough stuff because we don't have a big enough building. How about we just drive to people's houses? Like, hey, don't even come in. Like, people would call and order food, and they're like, listen, we'll just bring it to you. And he was like, holy shit, I'll just bring it to you. That's our business model.
Fun fact, on the Domino's, like the Domino logo, there's 3 dots, and that's for the first 3 locations. It was up, I think it started in like Michigan or some bullshit. I don't know. That's what it said in the modules that I had to take to become a delivery driver.
Oh, take an exam, huh?
Yes, sir. There's a quiz at the end of all of those.
And that was his thing. When he started doing the delivery, he started setting up his franchises in college towns because he knew that it was easier to deliver to college dormitories than it was to deliver to residential neighborhoods. So when he started the delivery thing, he was like, fuck it. There's like 200 and some people living in one building. If I just hand out flyers to these fucking college towns, I can make a killing just by being in one location.
So you mean to tell me that absolutely zero pizza was ever made in New York City?
No, it was, but people outside of New York City didn't really like. People in the Midwest didn't know about pizza in the 1950s.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it now. It makes sense.
Yeah, but the whole thing that I think that opened my eyes is it seems as though it was a lot easier to start businesses back in the day than it is now. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the internet helps out a little bit, but it's just the ideas that we've grown up with, they hadn't been invented yet. Franchising, that wasn't even a thing until McDonald's did it. Stuff like that, stuff that's commonplace now didn't exist back then. All the candy rackets, like I learned about the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup guy. Like that's just some guy who started making peanut butter cups in his kitchen. You couldn't even get away with that now in modern America. The FDA would shut you down. Like you're just fucking making peanut butter balls in your fucking kitchen table and selling them on the street corner.
What else? What else on this show? What other good stuff?
I haven't gotten to episode 3 yet. That's about as far as we go. But the guy who did the Baby Ruth, now the fun fact that I always heard is that he named it after Calvin Coolidge's daughter. That was bullshit. That's what he said in the court deposition because he named it after Babe Ruth so he could sell a shit ton of candy bars. And then when Babe Ruth took him to court, he was like, "Nah, I named it after Calvin Coolidge's daughter,
right?
Baby Ruth," because he couldn't use the straight up name Babe Ruth, so he just put the Y on there. So it's just, it's a bunch of hackery and tomfoolery. And then they made them billions of dollars.
That's always a good, when David Bowie tried to sue Rob Van Winkle, aka Vanilla Ice, for sampling Under Pressure, which is obviously straight ripped for Ice Ice Baby.
Yeah.
He says, his is dun 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 dun. Mine is dun 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 dun. That makes it different. It's totally different.
It's totally different. It's not anything like it was.
It's actually a really good. If you YouTubing something, go back to it was MTV's. I don't know what it was. They were just watching bad videos. It was a bunch of comedians watching shitty music videos from the past, and they had Vanilla Ice, aka Rob Van Winkle, on to go watch. I mean, how arrogant this is when you get fucking Janine Garofalo, Chris Kattan, and a few others to watch your music video that made you millions of dollars to tell you how crummy it is. So, unbeknownst to them, Van Winkle just goes apeshit, has a baseball bat, and wanted to destroy the tape and hit it, and then like knocked over a popcorn bowl and a nightstand and a few other things. Meanwhile, Chris Kattan's like curled up in the corner going, Vanilla, calm down. That was a good one.
Vanilla.
Yeah, Vanilla.
Yeah, no, and if you go back and watch anything from, dude, watch anything from our era, the era of our youth, it's all bad. And it's not even like bad from a certain perspective. It's just bad. We've just innovated so much since then that I don't know if we're spoiled or if we're all critics. Maybe this comes back to your lack of joy and conspiracy. It's just it's just that we want things to be perfect now, and we demand perfection. We demand everything to be. We don't put up with nonsense anymore.
Yeah, true. Well, I didn't. No, I don't mean to like, but I understand what you're saying to an extent. Yeah, I mean there is it's almost more instant gratification, and how much more instant can gratification be if it isn't instant?
Yeah, but like even back to like just using SNL as an example, like like Chevy Chase didn't even try to look like Gerald Ford. Now they can't even do like a regular old fashioned like caricature of a famous person. They have to hire a professional actor to sit in a makeup chair for half an hour before the show just to do a bad imitation that looks proper instead of just doing something that's funny.
Is that the one where he used to fall a lot because Ford used to tip? He was a klutz.
No, Gerald Ford like tripped twice because back in the day, all they did to get you off of Air Force One was grab like some bleachers from the local football stadium and park the plane close by. And so he slipped like twice coming down the stairs. Gerald Ford was he was a collegiate athlete.
He played football.
He played college football.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wasn't a klutz. He was probably the most athletic president we've ever had. And he gets caught on camera tripping 2 times in 4 years. And all of a sudden, that's the punchline on SNL for the entirety of the run.
Hey, give him material. You got to use it.
Yeah, what a klutz that guy was. That's all I remember. I don't care how good of a fucking fullback he was as a Wolverine playing the Big Ten back in the 50s, 40s, whatever. I'd probably more than the 40s.
Not his not his presidency at all.
Mm-mm.
Just that.
Nope, not his two and a half years as president. I was -8. Yeah, I think HW played baseball at Yale. I think he was another college athlete.
It sounds right.
H.W. Bush was a fucking fighter pilot in World War II.
And he was the president of the CIA when Kennedy got assassinated. So, I mean, plot thickens. Talking about those Bushes, no good up to no fucking good.
Fucking deep.
And it's funny because
conspiracies.
I mean, he wasn't the president. That was Hoover, I think. But HW. Wait, hold on. Was Hoover FBI? I think, yeah.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, that's right. That's right. And then HW was the president or the director of the CIA or whatever.
Wow, we're such knowledgeable folk. And by the way, the JFK conspiracy is like the only conspiracy that I don't have a conspiracy for. I just believe that Lee Harvey Oswald had a good day and that they needed to explain it away. And the Warren Commission was just like, fuck it. This sounds good. Print it.
That's fair.
The conspiracy theorists did themselves no good with in terms of like being critical of the Warren Commission, because they then and this is like a problem, because then you get fucking dickheads like who made JFK? Was it
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone? You get dickheads like Oliver Stone saying that the Warren Commission made up the magic bullet theory, when in fact they didn't. They said, we said it was a straight bullet. Conspiracy theorists said that that's impossible, that it had to have been a magic bullet, because how do you explain this? And then they were doing this, and then it was easily explained because the back seat at that car was lifted about 6 to 8 inches, which is why it makes sense. Then the magic bullet theory stuck, and then Oliver Stone dickheads making hand over fist, literally, these fucking movies. God, fire me up, man.
Well, the problem with the magic bullet theory, though, was that they were like, "Wow, we found a bullet on the gurney," and that's because some fucking Secret Service guy was like, "Hey, just put a bullet on the gurney and say we found it," and they not thinking that anybody would look too far into it, and I guarantee that's what happened. Is that wasn't the actual bullet? They were just like, "We got to find this bullet to shut these assholes up." Got it. It's just like when I was talking about the space photos. Yeah. Where they were like, all right, we didn't get a lot of good photos. Let's just fake a few of them so that we have something to print in Time magazine. And everybody's like, look, they're fake photos. It's like, yeah, we know, but you can't say that we placed a bullet on a gurney just to shut people up.
Yeah, you shoot 3 fucking astronauts who have trained extensively for 2 years to walk on the moon. Then all of a sudden you jam a fucking Nokia in their hand, like, oh yeah, document the event while you're at it. What? No, sir. I don't doubt it that they took some fucking fake photos and then coined them off as this is legit. No doubt about it.
We all know that shit was a motherfucking Kodak. So let's get it straight, sir.
My apologies.
Or a Polaroid, but probably a Kodak. One of them big ass fucking like satellite dish flash bulbs.
That's right. Make sure you get it right up against that 8-inch window that's fogged up.
All cartoony.
Just wipe it with your back of your palm. Just make sure you get a clear shot of the moon while you're at it.
So one time use the bulb literally burns out. And you just gotta fucking unscrew it.
By the way,
they probably didn't want fucking flash photography getting heated up inside of a spaceship.
That's fair.
If you want to see a good YouTube video, the first time they used the lunar rover, it's just a bunch of like Midwestern fucking test pilot assholes like, I don't know if it's gonna work. It's like, dude, gas it up. Like, I ain't gassing it up. And it's like, and they're just like trying to drift that fucker across the moon. It's pretty badass to see them driving a fucking 4-wheel drive. Just, they didn't know what the hell they were doing. That's what's great about early space, is they didn't know what they were doing. They just thought they could do it.
Yeah, it is. It to think about how quickly they tried to get to the moon is pretty miraculous. And the fact, like, some of like the failed landings and some of the quote unquote state of the art technology. I mean, a lot of it, it was like wrapped in a lot of aluminum foil. That's right. This is a lot of what they were doing. Make this puppy light, shoot that fucker out of the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Use some of the moon's gravity, whip you around. Voila. You've landed in the ocean. We'll pick you up.
It does it. When you go to like Air and Space Museum and you see some of that shit, and you're like, I can see how people would not believe that you made it to space and back. like it seems reasonable.
Oh, well, while we're at it, we're going to get to one more of our favorite reading from Mr. Colonel Sanders himself.
On occasion, some fine folks will ask me, now, how did you build your empire? Well, it wasn't easy. I can remember one fall afternoon when it was just me and old David Thomas keeping the business afloat. I went out into the field and I wrung the necks of some 75 chickens all by my lonesome. We didn't even cook them. Just had to take the stress out.
Colonel was a savage.
We're learning. Yeah, that's. See, I have a feeling this is why the family buried these recordings. I don't know how I found them. I'm just glad that I did. And by the way, I learned all my knowledge about Colonel Sanders from the first season of Foods That Built America. Highly recommended if you can go back and watch that series.
Is that's how you learned that he burnt a few kitchens down?
Yeah, that's how I learned like the basics of Colonel Sanders. I've since done many a deep dive into the life and times of one Harlan Sanders, and yeah, once I saw him shoot a man with a shotgun because he covered up his sign on the highway, I said, "This is a bad son of a bitch." Not because he shot the man, but because he got away with it in
Yeah.
court.
Mm.
So we
Convince a jury.
Go ahead.
You can if you can convince a jury that you were justified in shooting a man on the side of a highway with a 12 gauge, you're my kind of man.
Where we go from one American hero to another, one non-fictional, one fictional. Detroit's giant statue of RoboCop is finally finished after 10 years. Detroit finally finished. This is like bad press. The first line is actually the same as the title. Metro Times caught up with Brandon Wally and Jerry Paffendorf, God, get better last names, to talk about the project they began in 2011. The story goes that some Detroit residents told the city mayor, Dave Bing, there you go, great last name, Dave Bing, that they needed a robo Bing. That's right, we need their soundboards. Needed a RoboCop statue. From there, the duo crowdfunded an effort to build the monument and raise $17,000 in just 3 days. Fred Barton Productions helped with the design of the character. And then the delays hit. It turns out a giant metal structure is wildly expensive, but the team kept plugging away. Yada yada yada. Finally, I know, Murr, listen, you wanted what was it? Guy Fieri. What was that bit we did? We were going to change the name of Columbus to Flavortown instead of something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you had a semi-chub at reading that RoboCop statue. I mean, this ranks up there with some of the better iconic statues here in the States. Yeah.
Well, I'd say so. I mean, Bill Burr's got a great bit where he flips out on Philadelphia, screaming at them that your greatest sports hero is a fictional character, and they've got the Rocky statue at the top of the fucking stairs. I've got mixed emotions about RoboCop. I think it's awesome. Don't take me wrong. This is the one time where something this cool, I fail to see the point. I mean, I think it's awesome, but what is RoboCop supposed to represent, especially now in the 10 years time, law and order, respecting police, and then you have RoboCop, like this militant version of what a police officer is in Detroit, one of the most minority driven cities in America. What are they going to do with the statue now? Are they really going to put it up? Is that really a kosher thing to do now?
He represents a lot of things, Andrew. None of which I could tell you right now, but he sure does.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. It seems like a bad PR move now that I think about it. Where are they putting it? Do we know?
In Detroit, bro.
Well, like, did they say, like, is it
I didn't
very prominent place?
I didn't see an address on the.
Is there a prominent place left in Detroit? Is there a nice place?
That's what really was my question. The root of my question. Are they just putting it outside of? Is it still the Silver Dome? Where the fuck did the Lions play?
Pontiac.
Yeah.
It didn't say. So my guess is
just
maybe,
downtown.
Maybe
just,
not right outside of City Hall. I doubt that. And I doubt outside of any of the it's not going to be like right next to fucking Al Kaline at Comerica Park or next to Steve Eiserman at Joe Louis Arena. But
I mean, those are both good choices. RoboCop's up there, bro.
I know. It's just gonna be a place for a bunch of stupid white people to go to take their pictures and then have their phone stolen from them on the way back to their car.
How fast do you think he gets vandalized?
Immediately.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna be waiting there. The forklift drops it. It's
gonna be right at the ribbon cutting.
See ya.
All right, folks.
He's gonna disappear faster than that fucking monolith in the middle of the desert.
Yes. We found RoboCop in Utah. It's aliens.
But okay, here's a question though. Why did it take them 10 years? It didn't take them 10 years to make the movie, and they used so much special effects in that. Why didn't they just have like a cast and then just make it like the next day? Like, how much like steel do you need? How long does it take to actually just like mold something. I mean, I'm not an artist. I mean, I'm just asking the question here.
Yeah,
But
what's it
like,
made
how
out
long
of?
does it take?
Do we know? Is it like made out of marble? Fucking, that seems excessive. I fucking hope not. Well, do we know?
We're gonna
It's
get
made out of metal. I know
Oh, it's
that.
made out of metal.
Yeah, and it's like 20 foot tall. It's a big statue. I saw a picture of them working on like the upper torso.
Well, that's
But
like art, man. You know, whoever made it probably had to like
there you go.
Yeah.
So you get
go through depressive periods to get his art out and things. You know what I mean? It's just it takes time.
I guess I guess.
I mean, I
mean-
wouldn't think it takes time, but you know, for artists, it takes time.
he's got a great ass. I'll put him-
Click on that one. I want to see his ass actually real quick. I want to see how detailed they got with the ass. I guess that took 10 years. Like that took 10 years. We can like
I mean, it's
we
very
can throw some like raw plastic into a 3D printer now and have a completely mechanical arm made in like, I don't know, 3 days, and it took them 10 years to make that big hunk of
They
junk.
could spray painted it.
He's got a nice cod piece too. I mean, you give him some credit there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what you do with a 20-foot tall RoboCop statue. I'm glad they built it. I'm glad it's done. I don't know why it took 10 years. You know, it took them 2 years to build the Conowingo Dam, Wes. That is a now almost 100-year-old, 1 mile giant block of concrete. And they were able to pour that and build like the world's greatest hydroelectric plant for 50 years straight in 2 years. And they couldn't create a fictional fucking character out of fucking metal in 10.
I guess it boils down to funding. You know, I mean,
Yeah, I think the necessity for the dam was probably far greater than RoboCop. So you can get to push that towards the top of the list. Also, when was the Conowingo Dam built? Do you know?
19, well, it's 98 years old, so like 1922, 23.
See now, yeah, a lot of immigrant labor back in those times. You can whip stuff up real quick.
a lot of pizza eaters.
There you go.
Alan, you familiar
I
with
don't wanna-
the Conowingo Dam?
I mean, I know of it.
Okay.
I don't hang around it. I'm not a Conowingo Dam historian, but I do know it exists.
I do actually remember an old show where I said something about Alan. What do you know about Conowingo? And you're like, it just sounds very Cecil.
Yeah, it's about right.
sounds very Cecil County. Well, there you have it. And I don't know if other cities are going to start following suit. You know, I mean, what would Baltimore's be? What was that? Electro Man? Who was that? What was that? That superhero in like 1990 movie.
No, I was gonna say Omar from The Wire. My name is my name.
I was gonna say, yeah, probably Omar.
I gotta look this up now. I gotta look this up.
Holding a-
Superhero from Baltimore.
Holding a 4-pound bag of heroin. right on Gay Street.
Shotgun.
God damn it! I'm gonna remember this. I think Eddie Griffin was in the movie. Yeah. Blank Man.
What I will
Blankman?
Huh?
Was Blankman said here?
No.
Oh, I was like, no, it wasn't.
But what I will say that what RoboCop does represent though is a pure democracy, because when they were trying to come up with a statue that best represented the city of Detroit, people's sense of humor came into play. And again, a pure democratic vote came into play where people wrote in RoboCop, and then people were like, oh yeah, fucking RoboCop. And then everybody voted for RoboCop. No one else could think of anything about that city. They could have built a giant car, to represent the big three automakers and the steel workers that built that town. They could have put a big emblem of either Ford or Chevy up in the middle of some square somewhere. But no, they built RoboCop because that was the will of the people. It's just like that boat that they were building over in Europe, and they put it online. Like, what do we want to call this thing? And they voted to call it Bodie McBoatface. That was amazing.
Bodie McBoatface. That's
Bodie
McBoatface. I don't think they ended up naming it that, did they? They were like,
they did
listen,
not.
guys, we can't actually fucking do that. We use this for Navy stuff.
It was a scientific exploration vessel. It was an icebreaker, and they were like, no one's going to believe any scientific research done on the boat named Bodie McBoatface. They did name it something else, but the vessel that they take to get the scientists to and from land, they did name that Bodie McBoatface. So there was a runner-up prize for it.
Could you imagine like you're breaking ice in the fucking like Antarctic, fucking South Pole breaking ice, and you're like, Mayday, Mayday, fucking Bodie McBoatface, HMS Bodie McBoatface, Mayday, Mayday, going down, guys, Bodie McBoatface will help.
I just like to think it's like someone's, I wouldn't necessarily say life work, but like creating this is someone's very proud of. They come up with it. They say Bodie McBoatface, and someone's like, listen, this is only going to make drunks and or stoners chuckle endlessly. So we just can't use that name. Sorry,
can't do it.
No. By the way, Alan, it was not Blank Man. It was Meteor Man. 1993. Actually, it's I couldn't believe it's DC. It was filmed in Baltimore, though.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And if I recall, that got pretty rotten reviews on Rotten Tomato. I think it was rotten.
Look at it.
No way.
Shocker.
You said Eddie Griffin was in it?
Yes, he was.
Nice.
Like a warm, creamy chutney. Get ready for another spoonful of the middle class holes.
Welcome back to the Middle Class Holes. Foxman, Alan, Murr. I actually did not introduce us at all during that first bit.
So caught up.
Actually, Murr immediately delved into an intervention. Wes, we're going to get you to believe in aliens and lizard people before the end of this. God damn you.
Well, I don't need you to believe in lizard people. I just want you to believe in the possibility of lizard people. I want you to believe in the possibility of aliens, the possibility of Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster.
Listen, I believe that there are aliens
from other places.
Yeah.
From outer space.
Yeah, sure. There's far too many stars in the cosmos to I don't think we could conceptualize what it is, but yeah, there's certainly a sun that has heated up a planet that is about relative distance to the Earth and has created some sort of life as we know it.
Do you believe they visited this planet though?
No, I don't believe that.
So you theoretically believe that there's a sentient being or a race of sentient beings elsewhere that have not made their way here. Why is that so hard for you to? Why is it so hard for you to make that leap?
Because I think this kind of dives into the same realm that we were talking about with your what was it, the astrological sign? What do they call that? Your horoscope. I think it's like people want to believe that stuff. They want to believe that, Shaquille O'Neal-sized people with large cone-shaped heads have come off, or have come into the atmosphere. Or okay. Let me dive back a little bit further. You had said I have been somewhat. The waters have been muddied a little bit because of the Jim Bobs and the Cooters of the world. Okay, so do you think the waters in my mind have been mudded up because the Jim Bobs who talked about getting anal probed and sexually abused while being abducted?
Well, I guess it's just that, okay, you can take their stories for what they are. And, I would say that if we were doing some sort of scientific experiments on another race of beings on another planet, we would probably go to remote regions where we could do our business in the dark of night. And generally speaking, no offense to anybody living in rural areas, most of the time not the most educated or the folks that would be believed the most. Like, you don't take a Harvard PhD scientist that everybody has credibility attached to him, and because people will believe their story. And then the air of secrecy is gone. But if you get some guy who's trying to build, his own theoretical weather balloon in his garage that doesn't have a high school education, then yeah, people probably aren't going to buy his story too readily if he does in fact get abducted.
Okay. All right. So
I guess my point on aliens visiting and why wouldn't they is because back to the conversation we had last week, because we're doing the same thing. We're not advanced enough to do it, but I can imagine that in another 30 years we'll be on Mars.
Okay.
So why wouldn't a race of sentient beings that are maybe 1,000 years beyond where we are, why wouldn't they be able to do it?
Because I haven't seen the proof. We're gonna end that. We're gonna end that there because we have to get to our bit. We have to get to what everyone wants to see. And actually, hold on. Gallery view, ladies and gentlemen. Today's a very important day. We've hyped it up. We've talked about it. You may or may not have heard about it. It's March 4th. Alan's going to take it away, but not before our intro to this bit.
Secret. Epstein's alive. Pizzagate. The earth is flat. Hollow. Space is fake. You're part of the cabal. Man.
The Q Report.
All right. Alan, show's yours, brother. Did you like that little Tom Green snippet in there?
Yes. Okay. Somehow I was anticipating that. The one I wasn't anticipating was the Pizzagate t-shirts.
I took about like that one was strategically picked because they had the I typed in Pizzagate hit images and it had the front of the store. And I don't remember, it was like Comet Pizza or something. And I thought that might make sense. But then, you get those two. There's Jim Bob and his wife with Pizzagate isn't fake t-shirts. There you go. Bingo. Booyah.
Oh, well, guys. The evening, it's still not midnight while we're recording here. So we don't know, that we're out of the woods yet. But, guys, we've been talking about March 4th. And the QAnon belief that something big's going down today or later this evening. I don't know. I'm still kind of holding my cards close to the vest. I kind of want to see. I want to see how this plays out. But, guys, we're supposed to have a new old president or an old new president. Depends on how you want to look at it. Donald John Trump is supposed to be president before the end of today. We've been talking about it. We've lightly touched on it. So I want to break down kind of the key elements here. I'm going to give them to you pretty quick, and then we can go back and kind of recap. So, guys, today, March 4th, very important date. We'll talk about the date. But bullet number one, obviously, I just told you, Trump was not running just for re-election, but it was also a military operation. So it's okay that he lost. He was supposed to lose because we're supposed to get to today, ultimately. Obviously, don't ignore all of the other dates that were set by QAnon. This was the real date that we were culminating to, okay? So his first 4 years were just setting things up, right? Because he had to trap the Democratic leadership, those criminals, those child murdering adrenochrome harvesters. He had to trap them into doing criminal activity. Because Barry O pardoned them before he left office. So he had to. Donald Trump's first 4 years were him trapping these Democratic criminals in their nefarious deeds. Okay, number one. So Trump wasn't just running for re-election; he was running a military operation. He's going to sting those Democrats, right? Number two. This is all going to work out because the United States of America no longer exists. It ceased to exist in 1871.
Whoa.
Okay. Ceased to exist in 1871. We'll get into that. Something called the District of Columbia Organic Act. So 1871. But what happened was, or at least what the belief is that the United States ceased to exist. It became a corporation belonging to the city of London. Okay. So by that timeline, guys, Ulysses S. Grant is our last legitimate president, keeping all of that in mind. And then 3 and 4 are fairly simple. 3, March 4th comes, Trump comes, backed by the military, who obviously are going to support Trump. And they arrest top Democratic leadership, some celebrities. We could touch on those guys, too. And really, they bust down the deep state cabal of child murdering and trafficking sons of bitches that the Democrat leaders are. And then number 4, the republic is restored because DJT gets inaugurated and he's back in office and he's back in control of the restored republic, the United States of America, again, as the 19th president. Okay?
Perfect.
Everything good?
Everything makes sense. I've always felt my British ties. Ulysses S. Grant is the last president I personally recognized as the leader of the free world.
Naturally.
And So, I mean, I guess my main question is, so did they just not tell anybody that America wasn't America anymore? And it's just one of those deals where, like, the manager leaves for the day and nobody knows it. And so the business just runs itself because everybody just does their job and minds their business.
Well, I think the appropriate answer here is that you need to do your research, Mur. So I think that's the general consensus for most QAnon people, is that the general public has not done their research.
Yeah.
So
the burden of proof
done their research
is in your court. The burden of proof is in your court to do.
Yeah, not them. No. So let me help you out here. We touched on that District of Columbia Organic Act. Okay. So that's kind of the root of this. Right. We'll get to the date and other stuff too. But the District of Columbia Organic Act was simply the act that basically dissolved Washington and Georgetown, the 2 municipalities that existed prior to D.C. becoming the District of Columbia. So basically, it made the District of Columbia its own municipality with its own local governing body. Has no relation to the president whatsoever, no relation to federal government. It just made D.C. a city. That's it.
Okay.
Right? So, because of that, let me say this clearly. In the wording of the District of Columbia Organic Act, it turned the District of Columbia into a municipal corporation. That's the key word. So I think we've touched on how a lot of this is definitely rooted in reality. That's how it was written. It turns into a municipal corporation. The very next line is better known as a local governing body and has no relation to the president or the U.S. as a whole. So they take that, and that is when we became, in 1871, we became a corporation. The United States dissolved, not just D.C., the whole of the country dissolved into a corporation belonging to the City of London. The City of London seems to be cryptic. I don't know why that was what was chosen. I guess just ties back to the king. I couldn't really find a clear answer on that, and I don't know if I can legally go to the places that give me those answers. So I stay away from them. So sorry, can't answer that one for you, though.
Well, that's like the most important one.
I might have some insight on that. Now, I don't know. I don't know if this actually is the same thing. I could be wrong. But as a person who's looking to buy a home, here in the city of Baltimore, it doesn't happen often. But there are still homes to which the ground that the home was built on is still owned by the king or the royal family. Now, it's easy to get out of. It's a pretty small fee. It's not it's not like the cost of down payment or anything like that. You can break ties with it, but there's still kind of they still have deeds or own deeds to plots of land here in the great old United States. Now, I don't know. That's just my guess. That's fair. I thought it's worth bringing up. So
I kind of hypothesized that because it didn't become a state, that's kind of how mentally you could be like, okay, well, it never became a state and it never really it did. So it's not part of the United States. What is it? I guess the land belonged to England back then. You know what I mean? So I guess that would work out. But like I said, combing through the variations of this is cumbersome.
So I may say that because you said we haven't gotten to the valid reason of it belonging to England. To the conspiracy theorist, rather, in the theory in general, when you ask that question, they usually try to brush it along. It's not important. You're missing the big picture here.
You're missing the big picture.
The crux
we're not a country, we're a corporation.
It's the crux of the whole argument, but let's not pine on it for too long.
Semantics.
I didn't make the playbook, okay? I'm just informing you. I'm purely journalistic intentions. So yeah. But anyway, right, number one, that's what kind of starts the seed of why we are not a country and why Donald Trump can come in. And this kind of ties into sovereign citizens. So I don't know if you guys know what sovereign citizens are or have heard of them, but sovereign citizens believe a similar, vein of thinking. They don't really recognize pretty much anything after. I've seen variations of the 14th or the 16th Amendment. I think the 16th Amendment makes sense because sovereign citizens are very against taxation. But if you don't know anything about sovereign citizens, they are considered a domestic terrorist group. They're libertarians and they're fringe. They oppose federal laws, general taxation, U.S. currency. They basically say that the 14th and 16th Amendment are unconstitutional. So that's kind of where they stop.
My understanding is they really don't get past the Declaration of Independence, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Fuck you, I live here. You said I'm free. I'm free. I don't need to do your taxes. I don't need to live by your rules. I'm me. I am my own entity, and I govern myself. That's essentially the sovereign citizen.
The only time I've seen it in action is on YouTube videos when people are getting speeding tickets or don't want to have their car searched, and they claim they're a sovereign citizen. But go on,
That's basically what it is. And yeah, so like those two amendments, and basically, like I said, we hit on the big ones where the federal laws and general taxation, because the 14th Amendment is that you like the Section 1, the very first part of it is that all citizens are subject to the jurisdiction in which they reside. So wherever you fucking live, you got to follow the laws. You're in this country, you got to follow the U.S. laws. Sovereign citizens say, fuck that. Get that out of here. And so that kind of lives in this QAnon world. So QAnon is actually kind of morphing, which is interesting, at least to me, as we chase conspiracies here in the Q report. And then the 16th Amendment is literally just taxation, and fuck that. They're not about that. So, yeah.
Christ, who the hell is in reality?
Well, that's true. I'm staunchly against it, but,
Well, I mean, look, even as a conservative, I like roads. Like they get me where I want to go, so
sure.
I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I like a lot of things. So we hit the high we hit the high marks. You say we're vastly approaching the 12 o'clock hour, and not to give I don't know. I like to say we're live to tape. Shocker to those of you listening over the weekend. We record this on Thursday nights. We got about an hour and a half plus. Was there any real breakthrough today? Did they march around? Did they get some megaphones out? And
security was on high alert. So it does seem that the Qers, the QAnoners, the Q heads. I don't know, what do we call them? Anyway, the Q.
I like the Qers. I think the Qers are the Qberts. I like the Qberts.
Qberts. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so there's a little bit of infighting. Dare I say a civil war within the QAnon group, because some people say that this is going to happen. Clearly, as Wes pointed out, we're closing in on a deadline here. I feel like Trump's kind of a crammer, a procrastinator. So I could see him getting it in late, but I think that this is just we're really playing with another dead goalpost for them guys, and it's concerning, and I'm wondering where this is going to go.
Concerning to who? I
don't know. To me, kind of, because it seems like
you were hoping for fireworks, yeah.
Yeah, well, yes, but I think the more that it morphs, I don't want anything to happen, but something's got to, I feel like something's got to give to kind of either kill it or let them just go their own way, because they're starting to split, but they're still kind of together, and now they're making other crazy organizations even crazier, and so it is a little concerning looking at how that large movement is starting to morph into things.
What made them believe that Donald Trump today was going to become the 16th president? Why the 16th president?
Well, 19th president.
I'm sorry. Why the 19th president? And why would he become the 19th president, and why today?
So today does play a big factor. That's a good question. Today has just some history behind it, which is actual U.S. history, and I think where we've touched on this is how they, conspiracy theory uses little bits of truth. to kind of bring you in. So March 4th was originally Inauguration Day since way back in the day. So George Washington was supposed to be inaugurated on March 4th, 1789 is the date I have. I don't know if that's true. Hopefully Wikipedia did not lie. But anyway, March 4th was when he was scheduled. George Washington was scheduled to be inaugurated. It kind of just stuck. But in actuality, George Washington wasn't inaugurated on the 4th. He was inaugurated on April 30th because there was a large storm and senators couldn't get to the then capital of New York and yada, yada, yada. So March 4th was the original scheduled date, and it just kind of stuck until we started having some problems with nominating or electing a president in November and letting him kind of hang around for 4 months, 4.5 months, and not actually do anything. Lame duck presidents started getting a little crazy. They started doing some crazy shit. I think the biggest issue, or the biggest probably lame duck event, would have been Abraham Lincoln when he was elected in November of 1860. He was inaugurated on March 4th of 1861. By the time he was inaugurated, 7 states had seceded already. So March 4th has a lot of history behind it. It was the original date until it was changed. Years later, the 20th Amendment under FDR, it changed to January 20th to try to eliminate 7 states seceding before the president took power. And then what was the second part of your question? I apologize because
just like what would have given him the grounds to become the president, the 19th president.
So, like we said, Ulysses S. Grant, the last legitimate president, because of the whole District of Columbia turning the country into a corporation. So, because of that, they basically put their sovereign citizen hats on, their trifold hats. They put their trifold hats on, and they say, "Hey, this country's bullshit. None of your rules and laws apply." DJT is also taking that same vein with the military. Keep in mind, he's backed by the military in this situation. And they kind of just storm on into the Capitol and say, "Hey, guys, Pelosi, you're dead. Schumer, get out of here. I'm the president now." They probably do something very heinous with Biden and Kamala. But really, it's just the belief that the country is no longer a country, and Donald Trump is here to save it from the grips of the city of London and liberal socialism, to take it back and restore the republic to what it was. He's the 19th because obviously all of this culminates in the country becoming a corporation after Ulysses S. Grant.
So he's just CEO in charge?
Yeah. Basically,
this shit's making me want to believe in Bigfoot. I'll be honest with you. This shit
once he takes over, he restores it back to the United States. So he is the 19th president officially, and then presumably we move on, and Donald Trump still continues the use of the Constitution for the most part. Most likely holds a free and fair election, I would assume, because he's a reasonable man. And then 8 years from now moves on and hands over power to someone else. Because if you were restoring the republic, I think that would be kind of critical. I mean, there's also some things to think about if we're cutting it off at the 16th Amendment. Like, I mean, women can't vote, so I mean, that seems like a drastically different country.
Women's suffrage. Jeez.
Seems. I mean, so the restoration of the republic comes with some give and take. Is all I'm saying. Ladies, I don't know how you're going to feel about it. You might want to talk to your boy Donnie if you're a supporter, because I don't think he's going to let you vote. But hey, man, we only got an hour and a half left. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he writes some amendments, sign some EOs when he gets in office.
It'll be a long line of crotch grabbing.
Yes,
like,
sir.
You can now vote. You can now vote. You can now vote.
Boom! like a conveyor belt, fucking factory line.
Two-handed.
There's gonna be one of those lines that takes the defectives off, and they just when he's like, "Not you," it just pulls them off to the side.
It's like a Pink Floyd video.
So yeah, man. Like I said, there's a lot of like actual history. Like I read amendments to the Constitution.
You said before we recorded, you said, I can see how the rabbit hole consumes somebody.
Yeah, because it's like, all right, man. So like, March 4th was when, inaugurations happened, and then it changed. Why did it change? You just go back and it changed, and you're like, oh, it changed because they're trying to shorten lame duck presidents. Okay, cool. Well, who was fucking around? What happened during lame duck presidencies? And a lot of shit happened.
Yeah, well, it also changed.
Took advantage of that. Go ahead.
It also changed because you didn't have to fucking like lug a horse and buggy up a cobblestone road anymore. That had a lot to do with it as well.
Also
you didn't have to like try to like make your way from Ohio in a fucking 4-foot ice storm. It's not a thing anymore. They didn't have to wait for the ground to thaw to make their way. The wheat didn't need harvesting.
And that's what I found interesting was like, so March 4th was when George Washington was supposed to be inaugurated. He didn't get inaugurated until April 30th. It's not like, all right, hypothetically, inauguration was really shitty and there was like terrible ice storm and they had to postpone it. They would do it like tomorrow. You know what I mean? Or like, even if it's scaled down, they had a fucking like 2-month time period because people couldn't travel absolutely by horse.
Right.
So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah. This is like this. Okay. Do you know why the modern marathon is 26.2 miles?
Yeah, it's because the Battle of Marathon, like the guy had to run all the way back to fucking Athens to tell everybody the battle was over.
No, that was 26 miles. Do you know why they tacked on the .2?
No,
because at the first Olympics in Greece in 1896, they built the King and Queen's booth at what they presumed to be the finish line, and it was actually 0.2 miles past the finish line. So so people were like, "Well, we're not rebuilding the booth. The finish line's here. We're tacking on 0.2 miles." It just kind of reminds me of like this. People sometimes like forget just how prehistoric we were in the 1800s.
We're not that far removed from it though either. We still like hold on to a lot of like just really lame procedural things, like the whole thing with Pence, like we got to stop Pence from reading the votes. The votes are cast. This is a ceremony. They doesn't even need to read them.
Someone else will read them. Yeah.
It's just like your whole like DC. Well, we're a corporation now. No, DC is just a plot of land. Government has nothing. I can set up the American government in a basement. If shit goes down, Donald Trump or Biden goes down to a fucking locked vault in the cellar of the White House, and that's now. Air Force One is just the plane that the president flies on. He could be on a Cessna, and that's now Air Force One. It's just it doesn't matter what it is. Okay, thank you for doing all the research, Alan. I'm really mad at QAnon for having such a lame fucking conspiracy as to why Donald Trump is still the president or to be the president.
Yeah, well, like the cute, like you're right, because the reason is because he is the one. That's it. That's the reason. There's a whole mitigating set of reasons why it's supposed to be on this day and like how he's supposed to be able to do this, but it all boils down to he's only the one because someone Q decided that Donald John Trump is the one to lead us through this fucking convoluted mess.
God, we got to get one on the show. We've got to. It's got to happen. We have to. I'm not talking about some fringe believer. I'm talking about some full on. I jumped from my neighbor's 3-story house into the pile of QAnon dog shit, backyard pool, belly flop, and I believe all of this stuff. And I want to learn more.
It's solely like it's kind of crazy because like I went through it too because I knew you guys were gonna be like, all right, so like what reason is he the guy? And there isn't. It's just because like I'm trying not to be like he's chosen. Because I don't want to make him sound like this religious being, but they did make him out of gold recently, and they're starting to get a little unusual, a little more unusual than already unusual, and it's literally just boils down to the population that supports him is like, yeah, that's the guy who's definitely going to fucking do all of this stuff.
So now, when your first point, when you said this is the guy that's going to do all this stuff, it vaguely reminded me of the group of nutzos that about every 3 or 4 years say, the end of the world's coming. The end of the world's coming. And it doesn't happen. Like, oh, well.
Yeah, I mean,
didn't happen.
So what's
going to happen at 12:01 tonight? Are these fucking wahoos going to...
yes, I mean, something's going to get pushed back. But like I think we were diving into is they're starting to fracture amongst themselves. And they're starting to kind of latch on to other conspiracy theorists and extremist groups. Like, this is just one instance, and we can definitely do some more segments on some of the other branches of QAnon and where it's going, if you will. But like, this is a very sovereign citizen based one. Okay. You know what I mean? But to your point, you mentioned, like, they've gone through many dates. Like, I have so December 8th, December 14th, January 6th, January 20th, obviously, now March 4th. All of those dates have been used in the last fucking 3-4 months.
Well, what happened, Wes, is they were delayed because they knew that they were going to load the Capitol up with law enforcement. So just like the George Washington delay, the new date is going to be April 30th when Donald Trump will be installed as the 19th president of the United States. By the way, the best conspiracy I've heard so far to make Donald Trump president again is that he is going to run for Senate in the state of Florida, get elected, and then become the Speaker of the House. Then he's going to put through impeachment charges on Kamala and Biden, have them thrown out of office, then run for president again in 2024, and then take over for the next 4 years.
Hold on.
Wait. A lot of work for him. And that doesn't make sense because if he's a senator, he can't be Speaker of the House.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Well, I'm sorry, but I didn't say it was a good theory. I'm just saying that's the best theory I've seen.
You mean he's going to run for House?
Yeah, he'll end up in Congress and to become Speaker of the House, and then create articles of impeachment to impeach Biden and Harris, and have them removed from office so that he can then run almost uncontested in 2024.
Is it bad that I'm kind of pulling for it?
I was talking to Kelly today, and I was like, man, I kind of want something to happen. Like, nothing bad, but like, I kind of want like something to happen because you built it up. Now I'm here for the fucking movie, man. Like, you showed me fucking Lord of the Rings 1 and 2, and I'm here for fucking Lord of the Rings 3, and it's fucking a goofy movie, and I'm okay with it. I love it, but I don't. I wanted Lord of the Rings 3 is all I'm saying.
It is sad because we went from like supercharged and then we got Biden and it's the guy in the basement. Like, you know, Trump was out there like just snorting cocaine off of like hookers' tits every day on the news circuit, just talking nonsense and crazy shit, stirring up trouble, getting on Twitter, pissing people off, causing insurrections. And now like you get 30. I honestly don't think I've seen more than a 30-second news clip of Biden, and it's with the mask on. It's, I don't know. This is like the opposite edge of ridiculousness. Like, Trump was obviously the high point of manic. This is the depressive. Like, we're on the two ends of the mental spectrum right now.
I mean, that's fair. But if I'm being honest, I kind of prefer my politics quieter.
I do too, but I want them somewhere in the middle. I don't feel
that's fair.
It's like Trump was tinkering with everything and nothing was getting resolved. Biden's tinkering with nothing and nothing's getting resolved.
I think my major problem is that like we got Trump in, right, and like we didn't get to like we almost did from the public, but we didn't get to like the point where like two congressmen, like a congressman killed another congressman. Like, if we're gonna get that fucking crazy, like let's go fucking 1860s. Let's go like 7 states seceding and somebody getting beat to death with a cane. Like, right. I'm fucking like, if we're going to be crazy, we got to take it there.
We'll take 10 paces in opposite directions and turn around and fire revolvers at each other.
In the fucking House chamber. Do you imagine fucking Pelosi overseeing that?
She's probably fucking Annie Oakley, too. Dead eye.
Fucking chugging whiskey.
Yeah.
It's like an old lady with a sewing needle, fucking handshake, and all of a sudden, boom, right through the eye. Done. I'd like to see some skin in the game. I mean, we might be at that point where, like, a glove slap, and like Wes said, 10 paces and a shot.
I think I brought this up before, and I was like, if we're going to get third worldy, let's get third worldy. Let's have violence in Parliament. You know, let's really get after it. If we were gonna go there, let's go there. Is all I'm saying. Don't just commit to the bit.
Then you're only gonna get crazies in the house. It's like no sane person's gonna be like,
excuse me, sir.
Crazier than this.
Lasers. We got crazy in the house already, sir.
all 435 of them are crazy. All of them.
No,
not all of them, but only the ones that make it on TV. I mean, like AOC and that Marjorie Taylor Greene. Those are your two powerhouses. I wouldn't mind seeing a little scratchy cat fight between those two.
Right? Because like I wasn't even thinking about this right. I'm thinking old timey. I'm thinking dudes fucking shooting each other with fucking like pocket pistols. You got the ladies in Congress now. Let them go at it. Battle Dome. Like. Yeah. And the House floor is clearly ample space to host a fucking Karate Kid style tournament on the floor.
Yeah, do you just like make the bottom chamber removable seats, and you fill up the top dome? Yeah, I almost feel like the architect for that initially thought it was supposed to be some sort of fighting arena, and about halfway like, no, this is where we vote on laws.
It was back then because we were savages, so like it kind of was a fucking fighting pit, and then people up top just kind of watched as like a bunch of rich white guys argued about stuff.
Do you think they need to implement more wigs if we're going to get all savage?
So I was actually I started watching a show on HBO, and so I'll get to it. But yeah, I started watching a show on HBO based in like 50s or San Francisco or something, and the lawyers are in like judges' outfits, so they got like big black robes, and the fucking judge had a wig on, and I was like, yes, this is where we should be. I think if that's another thing, if we're gonna go fucking crazy, full crazy, bring it all back. Bring the theatrics of 1800s. 17 and 1800s U.S. politics back into it.
Maybe another asking for a friend. Do we tell, hey, listen, as our legal correspondent, how do you feel about wigs and robes?
Like all congressmen have lice, shit like that, you know?
Can you imagine Marjorie Taylor Greene with lice? Oh, God.
Imagine.
But yeah, man, it's kind of interesting. Like I said, it's interesting to see where the Q has gone. The Q was peak crazy and is starting to crest and kind of disperse itself. But it's still holding on to its baby murdering cabal ways. We didn't even talk about like the fucking celebrities that they were going to string up. Ellen, fucking Tom Hanks. Crazy.
Wait, Ellen and Tom Hanks were on board with this?
No, they were going to get killed and arrested.
Oh.
Yeah. The QAnoners aren't playing that game.
Yeah, I don't think they were voting for me.
Ellen, Oprah, and Tom Hanks. The liberal holy trinity, if you will.
The bottom line is you can't. You kind of peak when you get like Viking shaman guy at the podium, in the House chamber. Like you can't unless you actually install Donald Trump as the 19th president of the corporation of the United States. Like you can't really go much further than that guy in a fucking Viking helmet and fucking IKEA fake fur. You can't peek beyond that.
Yeah, I agree. We'll stay on it. Look, the Q report will stay on top of it, but what I foresee happening is that the Q makes its way into other realms of extremist groups, and those extremist groups probably get extremier. So look forward to that, guys. American extremist groups upgrading to fucking super conspiracies. Even more so.
The Q Report.
Now listen up, fellas. Do you know the statistics on unprotected sex? Men are 3 to 5 times more likely to bust early. Don't be a pump and dump. Wrap it up. Now, back to more of the Middle Classholes.
Welcome back to the Middle Classholes. Alan Fox, man. Q Report, March 4th, marching on us all over it. But we're going to get
waiting.
What's that?
Still waiting.
Yeah.
Hour and 15 minutes.
I know. The fireworks are coming.
Fucking anticipation.
And what we will do is we will hit y'all up with another reading from the Colonel.
Back in 1961, I made a deal with some Cubano basados to smuggle me molasses so sweet it'd make a horsefly's tongue curl up so far in the back of his head he could lick the back of his eyeballs. That's until Kennedy decided to start playing footsie with the commies. Well, LBJ loved him some sweet tea. We called it the Dallas Delight. It never went to market.
That's a little dark.
Yeah, that is, yes.
Hey, by the way, did he say that properly there, Alan? Cubano basados?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Cuban, I think that's a Cuban thing. But yeah. It sounded good.
It's Cuban rafters. I looked that one up, actually, after hearing it.
Yeah, that's like, that's when you start, that's a perfect example of one of those just like country-specific words that's Spanish, and like other Spanish people are like, what? What's that? I don't know what that is. Yeah.
It's racist, actually.
Yeah.
Guadalajara. All right. Met me a Mexicana woman in Guadalajara. Andrew, Fun Fact Friday. Hit us up.
Let's do it. Tonight, I've got another 5 fun facts for you fuckers. And of course, it's being brought to you by the Shin Splints Recovery Group. You can find them on Facebook. If you got a little pain below the knee and above the ankle, you can find the bullshit group that's on Facebook that's totally fake, but is completely bought into by folks from around the globe suffering from shin splints. It's the Shin Splints Recovery Group on Facebook. Let's get to it. I've got 5 fun facts for you, starting with this one right here. Did you know there is a single tree that produces 40 different types of fruit? Professor Sam Van Aken from Syracuse University spent 9 years cultivating the tree of 40 fruit. What a fucking stupid name. Which grows varieties of cherries, plums, peaches, nectarines, and apricots.
It's about as bad as the name is. What was it, the bumper boat, the bumpy baby bumper boat, or whatever? What was it called?
Yeah, Bodie McBoatface.
Boatface. The tree of 40 fruits. So he was this manufactured?
This is something that it was a hybrid tree that he created over decades, and it's able to produce. I guess all of the fruits that it produces are part of the same genus. And yet it can grow a variety of different species from that genus on the same tree. So it's a Franken tree.
Might be a phylum, but we don't want to get... Sorry.
Look, we're not biologists here, so let's relax.
I was completely talking out of my ass when I said all of those words, but I know that you know what I mean.
Oh, and I was talking out of my ass, too. Don't worry.
So like, good. I feel like that becomes a conundrum for, like, some people, right? Because, like, that's probably good. That's probably good, like, conservation thing. If you have a bunch of those trees and it fucking does, only takes up X amount of land, but yields a bunch of fruits.
Well, why don't we have more of them? Like, if I knew that this tree existed and grew in my climate, I would have like 4 of them in my backyard and never go to a grocery store. This is a good conspiracy for the Q Report. Why is this tree not produced widely over all sorts of continents? To cut down on, people starving to death because they don't have access to cheap, free fruits.
Well, okay. First of all, it might create a little shop of horrors situation. So, think about that in conspiracies. Okay.
You don't believe in aliens, but you believe in sentient trees. Okay, go ahead, continue.
They can sing, though. I believe in that. They hit the high note. There's a lot of questions. One, are all the fruits edible and nutritious?
Well, I mean, I would assume so.
Is
I mean,
it
it's the tree of 40 fruit.
Is it easy to water and maintain?
Okay, I've got another fun fact. I've got another fun fact for you fuckers. Did you know I am not a scientist, nor am I up to date on any more facts than what I pulled from this calendar page?
Well, you sit there and blabbed, wanted to ask us if why the world's starving. Why don't they have more of these?
That's a legitimate question that can be answered peripherally from anyone. Like, if this is such a miraculous tree that it exists, why haven't we heard of it?
Assuming all of the questions that I was about to ask you, which include but aren't limited to, are all the fruits nutritious? Is it easy to water and maintain? Does it take up a lot of space? Does it matter what climate it's in? Blah, 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 blah. Assuming all those get checked, yes. I don't see any reason why.
I got just a random question.
Yes, sir.
So for those, I don't know what we'll call them. Those folks that don't like to eat genetically modified foods, no GMOs. Get that fresh shit. This seems problematic because this is like textbook genetic modification.
No, it's no. It's not.
Oh, yes, it is.
Have you ever seen how they clone trees?
No, I don't. That's not a thing that I check out. But
they literally cut a notch in the trunk of the tree, and then they get a branch from another tree that's growing good fruit, and then they jam it into the trunk of the tree and tie it up until it grows back together, and then it continues to grow. That's it. That's not really genetic modification. That's just Frankenstein hillbilly science.
Well, see, here's the thing. That literally is the definition of genetic modification. Like, that's how it came about. Genetic modification didn't begin by Monsanto in a fucking lab. Like, that's how we got peas that we were willing to eat. That's how we got corn that wasn't for fucking horses. Like, that's how ancient fucking peoples made food for themselves. So, yeah, that's exactly what this is. And I'm asking, is this a fucking conundrum for those fools who don't eat GMOs?
No, it's not, because the GMOs out there, they're talking about people that are like CRISPR, like getting in with a magnifying glass, saying like, I'm going to pull this RNA strand out of this molecule and replace it with this one from over here. That's genetic modification.
That is, I mean, yes, you're right, but I think you're putting genetic modification in a bubble.
What I want to know is, do all these fruits have seeds? Because if those kiwis have seeds, I ain't fucking with it.
I would think they would have to.
I ain't want nothing to do with it. Make them make them all seedless.
Did you know that fake smiles are more asymmetrical than real ones? Studies of facial expressions have shown that sincere smiles are often more symmetrical than those that are forced, which is why they look more pleasant and why everyone hates the world because of Facebook.
So why is it that my girlfriend knows that I'm being sarcastic every time I fake smile? How the hell's that? How's that the case?
Because you only fake smile and you're always sarcastic. It's just a shot in the dark and she's always right.
Fair enough. Damn. So fake smiles are more asymmetrical. Well, I mean, smile for the camera,
Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, and, I think the problem is, like, I learned how to fake smile because the stupid radio gig, like, I had to take... And I genuinely, come on, if you're a quote-unquote local regional celebrity and you get asked to take a picture with somebody, like, you're actually kind of genuinely pleased about it. But no, I had to learn how to smile for the camera. I feel like I got pretty good at it, but I know they were fake. But I guess, I don't know, man. People's brains trigger pretty quickly, and people generally can smell bullshit pretty fast, and this is just kind of this is the scientific proof in the pudding.
Yeah, but they look better. So anytime like I was back in the day when I was hitting on some young lad, then excuse me, whoops.
Whoa! Not that's totally cool. You know, we support you, but we didn't know. This is a way to do it. But hey,
some young gal, and yeah, she fake smiled at me. I always thought the bullshit meter went off, but. I don't know. Maybe it's my pride card.
But let me ask you this: though, why would they fake smile at you? You know what I mean? I feel like they would have to wouldn't they reasonably smile at you? I mean, it might be fake. Maybe it's a little forced, but why would it be a fake smile? Because if they didn't want you to come chat them up, wouldn't they just stay stone faced or not smile?
Well, perhaps they didn't want the gum trick performed on them. That could be a possibility. I don't know.
The old gum trick.
Is the gum trick a trick, or is it just you throwing gum in their hair?
No, it has. Actually, there's no chewing gum or bubble gum involved whatsoever. Murray, you not familiar with the gum trick?
I am not. Can you explain?
Yeah, so the gum trick was usually I needed a wingman, someone who was willing to corral a group of young ladies of 2 or more. Any more than 5 or 4 kind of got annoying. And I would be in the corner of a party looking like I was defeated, deflated, upset, pissed off. It's like, my friend's really pissed off. I don't know what the hell's wrong with him. Can you please go over and talk to him? And ultimately, these guys are like, oh my God, what's wrong? And unbeknownst to them, I would have my testicles pulled out through my zipper, and I would turn around and say, I think I sat in some gum.
Yo, I've watched it happen so many times. I've been unfortunate enough to be standing in the circle when it happened. I've been across the room and been like, wait, watch. And then it just happens and fucking girls scream.
Yeah. Well, I was actually
entertaining.
Telling someone the other day, because I also used to pull, someone would be like, yo, my boy's 8 inches. And I'm like, what? I'm like, yeah, yo. And I got an 8-inch taint. I make an 8-inch mark between my 2 index fingers. I remember pulling the gum trick on someone, and she was like, aren't you the dude who had the 8-inch taint as well?
Well, let me ask you this, because in order to call something a trick, it has to work. So, what was the success rate of the gum trick?
0%. 0.
Okay.
Never rendered any any type of anything, to be honest. Matter of fact,
everybody tried to swat it off your face.
You need some lemon juice and bleach.
Right.
Oh, did you know you cannot legally watch or listen to Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech for free? The only way to see it in its entirety without breaking the law is to buy a copy, because the copyright is owned and licensed by EMI Publishing and the King family.
So what do we watch on YouTube?
You don't get to see the whole thing. You only get to see the highlights. Try it.
How long?
Back when public speakers gave 2-hour speeches and shit. And it was pretty rough. Probably.
Okay. So
it just seems like the most oppressive thing you could do to the most inspirational speech of freedom.
That does seem a little counterproductive. Yeah. So how long was that speech?
I think it was an hour in total. And by the way, I actually just listened to a podcast about that speech, and he realized he was losing the crowd, and so the entire the I Have a Dream portion of the speech was completely made up on the spot.
Damn.
He heard somebody in his his entourage behind him be like, tell him about the dream. And they basically took the rest of the speech and just put it down. It was just like, I had a dream, and just went and just fucking nailed it.
Yeah. That's if that's in fact was ad libbed, then that ought to be shown. Well, it can't be in its entirety.
In its entirety.
to public speaking courses at every fucking university across the fucking country. Say like, listen, none of you are going to be this good, but this is what you should strive. This is what you strive to be. What's that?
Yeah,
You'll never say anything this cool.
No, never.
Nope. Not even if you write it. Not if you plan it. Not if you have a team of writers.
Yeah.
Just that.
But listen, there's a guy at a local party who has a gum trick that's fucking hilarious.
Did you know that Salvador Dali didn't always pay at restaurants? He was known for drawing sketches on the back of his checks because he knew that the restaurants wouldn't want to cash such a valuable piece of art.
Son of a bitch.
So he would fill out the check, he would sign his name, and then on the back, he would draw something, and then he would know that because he's Salvador Dali, they would never cash the check.
It's back when you could still write checks at restaurants. What kind of shit is that? Yeah, you take personal check at Sizzler. No, it's not gonna fucking fly.
Yeah, Greg.
By the way,
Greg ain't taking a Salvador Dali painting. He wants straight cash, homie.
Greg's cashing that bitch tomorrow.
Dude, that guy was in some freaky shit too. He didn't necessarily do the Black Dahlia murder, but he's linked to the guy who they're pretty much 98% sure is the guy responsible for the Black Dahlia murder. And if you are not aware of the Black Dahlia murder, don't eat dinner, but look it up. It's a bad one. It's a bad one.
He's got like a Ray Lewis thing going on.
No, well, Dali was into like the whole what surrealism art and shit.
Yeah.
And so he was buddies with this guy who thought he could be an artist, but he wasn't. And so he decided to work on a human figure to make his art, and possibly several human figures. And he was like best buds with Dali, and it's like, hey, I bet I can make a better piece of art than you. And then he did, and left it in a fucking ditch somewhere.
Jesus Christ, these clowns. Ugh. I didn't know that about Dali though. I didn't know about his like doodling.
What's his face? Picasso used to do the same shit.
Like write checks, like bad checks. Well, not bad checks.
No, he just didn't even write the check. He would just write on the napkin. He would just draw some shit on a napkin and hand it to a waiter.
He would draw fucking squares and shit, squares and triangles and shit. But get this shit out of here,
like,
Pablo.
The other thing too is
fuck out of here.
It's like, yeah, this is no good. I mean, I'm trying to get paid, bro. The fuck out.
We'll find this artist.
And finally, did you know that Benjamin Franklin wrote a specific essay about farts? Because he thought European academic societies were pretentious, he responded to a call for scientific papers with an essay called Fart Proudly, which suggested research be done to improve the odor of human flatulence.
I like it.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is my kind of literature. I didn't know that, but now I may take the time to read that. Is it longer than I Have a Dream speech? Because if so, I ain't reading that shit.
It's not longer, but I think it's less expensive. The thing is, what I love about this is you always hear these whimsical stories about Ben Franklin. And I started to realize recently that Elon Musk is the modern Benjamin Franklin. They both have a good sense of humor, and their intellect is miles above anyone who's alive today. That motherfucker gave us electricity, dude. I mean, I know it always existed, but he harnessed that shit.
Right.
He gave us a country, not a corporation.
Gave us spectacles.
It's true. Yep.
I think the modern fireplace. Yeah. There's all sorts of stuff he gave us,
and he also a fart novel.
Exactly, Fart Proudly. I'm gonna look that up later. I've never read it,
but like it sounds like a medical, a well-researched paper.
Yeah.
Or was it just like an opinion piece? Was it a theory?
Dude, he wrote it to the Academic Society of Europe.
Yeah, see, you gotta have something. You have to have like an abstract, fucking bibliography at the end.
That's right. Yeah, you have to have some source.
You have to have sources, primary and secondary. You gotta get a good mixture in there.
I hope he cited his source and just bent over and let one rip.
Like,
there's my source.
He stapled on some
he farted ink. He put some ink in there and just farted on the paper. He was like, "See, that's it. That's the proof right there."
Stapled on some toilet paper. They think like here's another fun fact: the average human farts between 14 and 21 times a day.
That sounds right.
Ish. Yeah,
that sounds right.
Women would say no way, maybe once, twice, which is nonsense. But
a week.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You would just die. You would just you would die. You would explode, I think. There are some days where I'm about once a minute. Oh yeah.
You need to change your diet.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know. If you're getting that fiber, you should be getting some toots.
I think it has to do with
you should have an upswing in the tootage.
Like starting to drink at 2 in the afternoon on a Saturday.
Well, yeah, that'll do it.
And that, my friends, is your Fun Fact Friday.
Fun Fact Friday.
And we'll hold out. I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll close out to the last reading from Colonel Sanders.
My first wife, Josephine, was a sassy little minx. She used to have a little game she liked to play in the bedroom called Biscuits and Gravy. She would dump a whole bag of flour out on the bed sheets and roll around saying, "Look at me, I'm a little biscuit." I provided the gravy.
So fucking vivid.
I think the Colonel was good and drunk when he got that one out.
Did I hear, "Look at me, I'm a little biscuit"?
I believe you did, sir.
Alan, where can you find us, brother?
So we're on social medias sometimes. Nope, we're on all your favorite platforms, guys. At MDL Classholes on Instagram and Twitter. We're just the Middle Classholes on Facebook. And then you can find us for your ear holes on all your favorite podcast platforms. That's Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts as well.
That's right. What was I? I was going to say something. We're not on any QAnon. Any QAnon sites. You can't find us on any of these conspiracy theory journals. March 4th. So don't worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, hey, man. What 52 minutes to go. I'm saying, hold on.
Hold your breath. Literally.
Well, I won't, but somebody might. I wonder what happens now. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to see where this goes.
You mean if nothing? You mean that you're so excited if nothing happens?
Well, no, yeah. So now I just got that was a statement of I'm excited to see what the next thing they say is going to happen.
Yeah, I would like to see. I mean, some contention amongst the ranks. You're going to have some fallout. You're going to have some.
So I mean, there already really kind of is. We didn't touch on some people were. Some, I guess, high-ranking Qers. It's so fucking cryptic because these people don't exist. Not even just Q, but the people who disseminate. I guess there's a whole kind of set of underbosses that are fucking just writing fucking fan fiction that is QAnon. Right. And so, they were even today's a fucking trap. Don't go to DC. You know what I mean? Because the seed of a little conspiracy is that the media was yeah, QAnon is this, but it's actually not, so don't go there because they're just gonna arrest you. And that started to pop up literally yesterday. So yeah, it's getting
they're
crazy.
Probably going to arrest them if they don't go there too. These people are like these biblical numerologists. I read that if you put together all of the numbers that happen in the book of Genesis, the world will end on January 31st, 2024. Ah, shit, I missed. I didn't carry the one. It's going to be January 30th, 2026. Like that's QAnon. That's the nutshell. These fucking morons. I
And
hate
it's
them.
literally, it is going, like you said, into like different, because I did see, like, in researching this, like somebody said like 1871 was a significant number for some odd reason. Like, so this is the point, like, that I had mentioned, was that they're breaking off into like every different little fucking crazy sect of crazy.
No.
Like every existing fucking conspiracy theory, they're like nuzzling in and burrowing in and being like, hey guys, yeah, we don't like taxes either. Also, babies make adrenochrome and fucking Democrats killed them. Like, and sovereign citizens are like, we need the numbers. Let's go. Come on.
It's also like, it's also like
We need to infiltrate.
we need to infiltrate. The idea of okay, we may not all believe the same thing, but we believe that the man is wrong, so it doesn't matter. We'll take the adrenochromers. We'll take all that shit. Don't worry about it. We'll sort it out at the end.
Like it's just like, I'm trying to drive license free and fucking like have multiple wives and not pay taxes. So fuck the government. And then the QAnoners are like, fucking babies, Donald Trump, adrenochrome, and then they're like, well, fuck it, we hate the government. That's a good enough place to start this relationship.
You can do most of that down at a tiger farm in South Carolina.
I mean, you used to.
Forgot Doc. Has there been an update on Doc? Is he
Doc Angel?
Yeah,
I think she got that motherfucker too. She's a headhunter, bro.
she's Q.
I
She's
think-
Q as well, or anti-Q. I don't know.
I was gonna say Carol Baskin. She is cute.
Yeah, in
That's
October
right.
9th, I think we did lightly touch on this, that he was charged with wildlife trafficking. He's been indicted on 15 charges, including animal cruelty.
See,
There's your movie, by the way. Is it he and Joe Exotic? He and Joe Exotic end up sharing a jail cell and plot to kill Carol Baskin. That's your movie.
Dude, I'd say within 10 years, you're gonna hear like something's gonna happen, and Carol Baskin's definitely gonna be dead, and it's definitely gonna be one of those two, or her definitely soon to lose it on her husband Don. Was it Don? Is that the new husband's name? or
Nah,
is
that's
that
the one
Dennis?
that's dead.
yeah,
Oh, my bad.
That's the one she killed.
New Don. New Don's definitely going to turn on her, or the other two are going to kill her. That's my prediction. Sardine oil and stuff.
On March 4th, 2024.
March 4th, 2022. Fucking Doc Ansel and fucking New Don fly her over the Gulf of Mexico and push her out of a plane.
Parachute. They take out the red cord. She can't eject. Ugh. All right, folks. I think that's it. Good night.